It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation? We are back again. It is Captain and Skaggs, and you are listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. How are you doing today, Skaggs?
I'm a little tired, but
Yeah.
here we are. I'm excited to be back after a little hiatus, a little week off. I saw you, and I didn't watch it yet because I didn't see Hawkeye yet. But
The episode? No.
thank you and Jerry for keeping the work going. That's what you guys.
No problem.
I edited it for you guys, and good job.
Yes, thank you. It was good. It was good. Because it was nice getting, like, you usually stick to a lot of just what, like, the cinematic universe and what we know through the cinematic universe. And it was good for, like, for me, who, like, knew a lot of, like, stuff in the past from the comics and stuff, whereas Jerry still is, like, reading, like, the newer stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
Jerry's
like, he
always
had
been, like, deep into the actual like physical comic books. I even saw when we were putting that together, him taking notes. He sent a picture of him like watching the episode. He had, like, his computer there, and he was really into it, taking his notes. So good job, definitely.
And it was nice to hear, like, what's going on currently with these characters in the comic book universe. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
also, Doom Nation, we've reached 300 subscribers on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Keep sharing, keep liking, keep subscribing, and we'll be up to 400 and 500 before you know it. Every single subscription matters, so thank you guys very much.
Chipping away little by little.
Yep, we reached a year-end goal, and it's a 100% increase from finishing out last year with 100 subscribers. So
yeah, that's a good point, right? Year over year, it's way more, man.
Yeah.
So I mean,
what are we doing today?
I'm glad
it's been a while.
Glad to be back. I was a week off. My daughter was born.
There we go. I was gonna let you announce that.
Yeah, so it's exciting times. It was pretty awesome, pretty exhausting at the same time. So I got my whole French press of coffee right here to keep things going.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations, man. I can't wait to meet her.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. When after about a month or so, have you come over.
Yeah,
we'll hang out. You'll get to meet her.
Some.
Not after her. It's safe enough. Babies don't have the immune system in the first month, but it's an awesome experience, dude. Like, like seeing a baby being born and like meeting them for the first time. After she was born, like, they were basically like, okay, here you go, like, go into the recovery room with her and wait for your wife to to come in there. So it's just like me and her sitting in the recovery room by myself. Like, I'm not the type of person that was like comfortable with infants, really ever in my life, but now this is like my infant, and it was just an awesome experience. Like, your human instinct just like comes out, and like sitting there with her and everything, it was just awesome, dude.
You realized the amount of you realized the responsibility that she is to you, like, in action. Like, you knew, like, you had responsibilities coming, but you were like, whoa, this is real now. Like, you realized the real reality of the responsibility it is.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a really interesting, human experience, I guess you could say. Like sitting there, like, she's like awake, making eye contact with me and everything. It was really, really awesome. Really happy.
I get to see the first few minutes of true innocent life.
Yes, that's a good way to put it, right? That's babies
You're
are
never
innocent.
You're never going to be this innocent. And to top it all off, Doom Nation, Mr. Skaggs over here is a stickler for being on time to the T. I've never gotten up earlier for anything that I've ever had to do in my life. not even work, not even getting up early, extra early for work. For when we have to do something, there you show up on time. And this little girl pulled off the most Skaggs thing in the history of the world. She showed up on her due date on time and in the morning. You're an early riser too, so she's never gonna have another chance to be late or sleep in ever again.
No, it only gets worse from here because she got to deal with me. And she was born on December 7th, which is
D-Day.
No, Pearl Harbor Day.
Pearl Harbor, sorry.
A little bit special to me too because I'm a big World War II history person, so I thought it was pretty cool that she was born on that day. So yeah, man, really just like excited. I'm happy all around. I am tired, I was telling you, wait till you have a kid. Like there's no such thing as sleep ever again. But at the same time, like the first like day or two, like I didn't even really want to go to sleep. I just kind of wanted to like hang out with her and whatnot. I'm excited when I edit this later, gonna hang out in the room with her while I do it. So it's fun.
That'd be cool.
Really enjoy it so far. It's awesome.
So also, she'll be listening to horrifying acts from politics and court cases.
And the first couple of fucked up Friday episodes, and whatnot. It also, as I'm sure you're aware, like it gives you the perspective of the shit that we're dealing with right now. It's important because when you have a kid, I'd like to leave this place, this planet, a little bit better than I found it. For our
you don't
kids.
want her to have to be wearing ID bracelets and showing paperwork to get into the doctor's office to make sure, to catch up on all your boosters so you could go buy food tomorrow.
Yeah. I'd like to leave the world with a little bit more liberty for my children than I found it with. So, we keep the
pretty good way to put it.
Keep on keeping on. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about, we're going to keep updating you guys on the Ghislaine Maxwell trial and where we're at right now. Mayor Deblasio, as you all know, he's a complete fascist, and he put out some new rules. We're going to talk about that. This one is going to be a little bit kind of out of left field, but I wanted to talk about a little
thing we like to call marijuana.
And specifically, this is like a local Connecticut issue with the dispensaries and the process and whatnot. I found a funny article, and we'll get into that towards the end.
Yeah, so that hurt my brain.
3 topics. I don't know if you got anything else you wanted to.
I just wanted to. So, I mean, I knew we were going to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. Excuse me. I just wanted to shout out the world and everybody on social media who has made the Jussie Smollett case just so enjoyable. The memes have been fantastic. This dummy was caught red-handed, faking a racist attacks, making a hoax out of it. And just every celebrity all the way up from Joe Biden to Alec Baldwin, all with egg on their face. We got to support this kid. There's no room for racism here. Racism is such a problem in America. People are faking it. They're faking it. Yeah. Okay. For attention. And now they got caught red. Do you know what the only thing is he getting jail time? What's happening?
Good question. I don't know.
Because he was found guilty on 5 out of 6 counts. The verdict came out yesterday, and I had a wedding to be at. So
that's right. Big Mikey got married as well, right? So
everybody who's watched podcast, Fantasy Nerd, congratulations.
Let's check it out because that's a good question. Did he actually get jail time? Yeah. Because he was right. He got 5 out of 6 charges. It says, I'm disappointed. At least from the New York Post, Jussie Smollett will likely get less than a year of jail time. Legal experts say. I mean, all in all, what does faking a racist driven attack really get you as prison? Right. He didn't murder anybody. He didn't do anything violent. He just played people in a time where he shouldn't have because things are very like racially charged right now. And I think he wasted the police's time. So that's probably where the severest penalty is coming from, like wasting
taxpayer funds and stuff.
You'd like to give a shit about that, but
no, you could get a citation. Like if you had like a real Karen for a neighbor, and every time you were barbecuing through, like had a fire pit and she called the fire station and you were within, your legal rights to be, I'm sure where you live and where everybody lives, your fire pit has to be far enough from your house where it's legal and shit. But like, just because your neighbor sees it, she's going to call it. They keep doing that. They'll get a citation and a fine for wasting taxpayers.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. It is interesting that Jussie Smollett, as David Chappelle would.
I just
say.
call him. I've probably been mispronouncing it the entire time.
It was interesting. I saw a super shot of someone stitched together like all the tweets of like the politicians and the blue check, our favorite blue check Twitter people who chimed in immediately after this thing happened and saying what you'd expect them to say, denouncing white nationalism and the Trump MAGA, blah, 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 domestic terrorists, this, that, and the other. I think Kamala Harris did it. Even Bernie Sanders did.
Biden,
it's insane because how many times on this show have I said, just spend 30 seconds of research or whatever you're looking into before you make a judgment or say something or spread some misinformation. But that's what they did.
Literally, but their whole goal was to spread the misinformation. It
fit and to be fair, in this scenario, he played everybody, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you did do a little research, if you were Bernie Sanders and you did do a little research, like the research you were going to get was what he claimed at the time. You weren't going to find that until a few days later. Yeah. So maybe you don't.
But it just shows that based on who you voted for, these people will, Kyle Rittenhouse, everybody needed him to be guilty.
Right.
All the blue check marks just magically in unison. He doesn't vote for our guy, so he needs to be guilty. Jussie Smollett, he votes for our guy, so he's innocent. Doesn't matter. He's innocent. We don't even need to. We all have to believe this.
Right. We don't need to hear the facts. Yeah. Both ways, they didn't need to hear the facts.
Sorry, I actually shared this from on, if you check out To Do Men Instagram account, on our stories. This was a great. So Libertarian Party of Texas, don't oppose something just because of who supports it, and don't support something just because of who opposes it. Having principles means that sometimes you will agree with the people you don't like, and other times it means you will disagree with the people you do like.
Yeah, that's 100%.
People
true.
have no principles.
No, they don't. And
as you say, the power of now, or the truth is just
there is no truth but power. Yeah, that's what leftists believe in now. There is no truth but power. And all that means is, when I have the power, I will write the truth. I don't know if I've ever said this I've said this recently to a few people, but I don't know if I've said this on the podcast before about the movie Troy and the quote from King Agamemnon. Have I said this on the podcast?
You might. I think you might have said it to like a few people at a party, and maybe. I wasn't really.
But have you seen that movie Troy?
Yeah,
with Brad Pitt.
When Brad Pitt was still young, playing.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and there's always this one scene that always sticks out in my mind. Although it's a stupid movie, Troy, whatever. It's King Agamemnon, and he's beefing with Achilles. Over they always hated each other, and Achilles wanted to be like the warrior. He wanted the accolades, be remembered in history. He wanted to be, a popular guy. He wanted his legacy remembered. Agamemnon wanted to be the king of everything, and he didn't want anybody to outshine him. And they got into this beef, this argument, and Agamemnon, remember, he is the king. And when Achilles threatened to not fight for him, to oppose him, to fight back against him, he was like, I will make sure that I carve Agamemnon into every rock, every stone along the Aegean, in Greece, in Troy, and I'll tear down any monument, any memory, any statue of Achilles' name, and you will never be remembered throughout all of history. And that is essentially what leftists do. It doesn't matter if Achilles really was the hero of the day. It only matters who has the power, which was Agamemnon. And he told him to his face, this is what you care about. You care about your legacy? Well, I have the power, and I will erase your legacy. Yeah, I will erase your legacy from, the annals of history if you don't do what I want you to do.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that always stuck out to me. And that's essentially what...
That's what a lot of the left is doing to any presidents or generals during the Confederate, during the Confederate era of America. Yeah. They've taken down the Robert E. Lee statue, and they're melting it down to make a BLM statue.
History is,
and they're going to be, and when, look, I'm not saying to go do it. I'm not saying I would participate. I'm not saying I condone this, but statues get vandalized on the regular. And if you want to put a big old target on a statue's back to be vandalized, you just managed to do it. You know what I mean? Like you're only, you want to take it down, fine. But now you want to, I'm not going to say disgrace, but like you want to melt it down so you could do, you know, something new.
That's a symbolic destruction of like removing a statue. I understand, you know, of like Robert E. Lee or something like that. You know, I understand, you know, it's
not up to me to keep the statue up. I didn't vote to keep it up or vote to take it down. My hat's not in the game.
Yeah. Right. To melt that specific statue down to make a new statue out of the same material. That's like that's literally Agamemnon carving his name into every stone to erase Achilles' memory. You know what I mean? Different scenario, obviously, but yeah, interesting.
It's crazy. But also to end the Smollett stuff, what we were saying with how the left only has, you know, there's no power but truth, or no truth but power, right? So Psaki got grilled about how Smollett was found guilty, and she deflected because like there is tweets from Biden and Kamala about, you know, how we need, and I'm not saying, look, what we're talking about here is the fact that the left moves in unison to make this narrative, and that's why he was able to play so many at the time. Like whoever was president or whatever, if this case was that big, you would have to say something, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not mad that they said something, or they said, you know, what they would say to their base.
Right. They're going to comment on it.
Yeah.
And you know what? Exactly. And it's not even that they're going to comment on it. They're going to be asked about it by the report, the press pool and whatnot. So Psaki deflected by saying, yeah, but Trump commented on it too. And if it wasn't for Trump, we wouldn't have had actions like this take place, or where we'd be allowed to, you know, allow for stuff like this to happen. So it's Trump's fault that this guy had it's Trump's fault that he caused so much racism in America that they had to fake a racist attack. Yes.
Yeah.
In clown world, yes, that makes perfect sense.
Upside down. I want to turn the camera upside down.
Yeah, you know, everything. It's all just the state, the establishment pushing the agenda to divide people so they could, you know, do what they want and rip everybody off and, you know, take away your civil liberties even further without you caring because you're concerned about domestic terrorists. It's all part of the plan, as the joke.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. All right, so enough about that loser. Let's talk about another loser, Deblasio or Maxwell.
Let's go with Maxwell. I know a lot of people are looking into this, or like, you know, have their eye on this. So one thing I'll start here. One thing that was interesting that happened over the course of the week was the original Ghislaine Maxwell trial tracker account got deleted from Twitter, which was on the last episode I said, which was one of the best places you could go to get information on the trial. They have a Substack, which is like basically free journalism website where you could write articles and whatnot. They're still covering it. They were doing a pretty good job. The reasoning from Twitter was complete nonsense, horseshit, that they were artificially amplifying news. Like, I don't even understand what but now Parag Agrawal is in charge. He's going to do whatever he wants. The new guy on Twitter. He's even
that guy is, if you thought Jack Dorsey was bad, this guy is a whole new world of pain.
So that original account is gone. A lot of copycats sprung up afterwards.
I know. I found stuff on Gab, and like they were saying, like, oh, the second, you know, they start talking about how Epstein and Maxwell could be Mossad, our Twitter account got, you know, suspended and stuff. I'm like, okay, but there's no way I could get to the bottom of who is running this page on Gab.
The account, right?
Yeah.
I knew right off the bat that a lot of fake accounts came up that were going to try and cover this trial, because the Substack of the original account literally said, we're not going to make another one. If there's any other accounts, it's not us. You could go to our Gab instead and look at us posting there. And so, you know, moral of the story here is just be careful what you read, because people want to recoup the 500,000 followers that account have. A pretty good strategy, actually. If you want to get a lot of followers real quick, you intimidate another really popular account that just got banned. And you got to be careful, because these accounts, one in particular, I think it's called just Maxwell Trial Tracker, is just making up fake news bullshit about how they posted today about how Bill Clinton's been subpoenaed and he's going to testify next week in the trial. Completely made up. That is not happening. Completely false. And that leads me to believe, like, who the fuck's doing this? Are people on the left maybe just trolling people interested in this?
It's probably the CIA.
Is it the CIA? Is it some fucking stupid, kid in his basement eating Hot Pockets that's trolling people? So just be careful what you read. I have a really good source who's credible and actually has a press pass and is in the courtroom. You could follow them on Twitter. It's called Inner City Press. I forget what the guy's name is, Richard something. And he's in there live tweeting, live reporting the trial. That's where I'm getting my info from. And he's doing a good job. He's also coming out at the breaks and like doing a live stream talking about what happened. So it's called Inner City Press. I would check them out if you want to follow like a reputable source of who's covering the trial. There is no other way. There is no TV. There is no call in line. This guy from Inner City Press, he pressed them to try and get a call in line. They denied it. So it ain't happening. You're basically just relying on the whims of people that are in there.
And as I texted you, red flags, man. We don't know who could be running any of this. It is well within the realm of the possibility that the CIA, as likely as it is some kid who just blew up on Twitter, spreading fake news, is as likely as a CIA agent could be running some type of operation to spread misinformation. This case is such a big case that no one even realized like what it really could lead to.
I think a lot of people know, bro. A lot of people are interested in this case.
Yeah, but I still believe there's a lot of people with their head in the sand about it too.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think people in our realm of consciousness, our realm of consciousness are on it. I could tell just by our stories views are way up because we've been covering it. So it is at Inner City Press. His name is Matthew Russell Lee. He's a journalist apparently for a long time. He's doing really good work. He's reputable. He and Inner City Press were banned from the United Nations because he went there and he questioned them and one of the higher ups on their connections with Epstein and some child trafficking, rape in Africa, and they banned him. The United Nations banned him because he asked that question, which is suspicious in itself.
Red flag.
They banned him, but that makes me believe this guy's pretty fucking credible because he's not afraid to ask the hard questions. So shout out to him, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press. Check it out. So let's talk about today in the case. It's weird because yesterday they said that the case was going to be suspended. Where is my notes here?
With the COVID or an illness that it might not be COVID.
Yes. So they said yesterday that the trial was going to be suspended, put on break because someone in the jury pool was sick. They didn't disclose what, but the case just picked up again today. So I don't know what exactly happened. I think they just took a break for half the day yesterday. And some new people testified today. I got one here that I will show you. Hey Doom Nation, it's Gags here, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Two Doom Men. If you like what we are about, help us spread the message by subscribing to our channels and sharing the show with your friends. That's the best way we can get around big tech's algorithms. You can also help support the work we do by subscribing to our Patreon account at patreon.com/2doommen or by going to linktree.com/2doommen. That will bring you to everywhere our show has a presence. Thank you, and we hope you enjoy the show.
This country is doomed. It is doomed.
Screen quick. So Annie Farmer, she testified today, and she detailed a nude massage at age 16. Again, this is going to be a little bit graphic, not as graphic as the first time around. But she is the fourth and final accuser in Ghislaine Maxwell's sexual abuse trial. She took the stand telling jurors how the alleged Madden gave her a nude massage and groped her as a teen at Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch. Long story short, I won't read the whole thing here. She was essentially I think you used this term last time, Cap. They were like grooming people.
Yeah, that's what Gislaine's deal was. Yeah.
So
she was out there picking up, like what he would like.
Yes, exactly. Annie here was recruited by Ghislaine, brought to the ranch in New Mexico, and she was fondled by Ghislaine. She testified in court today. And Jeffrey also tried to put the moves on her, like pressed his penis up against her from behind. They went to a movie together, and he was like trying to fondle her, grabbing her, groping her leg, like during the movie. She was 16 years old at the time, this girl. And they bought her really nice things. I think they bought her cowboy boots that were like hundreds of dollars. So like, you see how these people operate. They're bringing in, you know, they're preying on young girls, bringing them in, hitting on them, making them feel comfortable, giving them gifts. You know, just despicable fucking shit that they're doing. You know, preying on young girls. So that's basically what she testified today.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just the surface level of it. Who knows? And these people are only 16. Who knows how much younger it gets and stuff like that. You know, I didn't get a chance. I was too busy today to
that's okay.
to listen to what she testified about. I also feel like this trial is moving by very fast. But then I realized we also got to realize it's only 4 witnesses. So
right. So that's my second point here. The prosecution, which is the state, rested its case today after a few days and only 4 witnesses testified. And my fears have basically come true. What I said in our last episode, there's nothing. There's no smoking gun here. There's no big juicy admission of the elites that were involved in the pedophile ring coming for, you know, being ratted out here and being exposed. You know, besides Bill Clinton, his name was one of the few people. And what was it, Chris
Tucker?
Chris Tucker.
Sorry,
yeah.
Chris Which Tucker, was I don't understand where he fits in.
Yeah,
but like
that riding the planes with Epstein. So I mean, like basically only people that we already knew were the only people really named. Nothing else is coming from this, and I can't help but continue to be skeptical, as that was the plan.
Red flags
all along. You could not rely on the state to give away other actors of the state that might be involved in this thing. This could have been the whole deal, like we said last time, you know, from the get-go. Well, you go down for the charges, you go down for everything, and you just keep your mouth shut. And
it's pathetic.
Your deal is life in prison, as we said. So the defense, so the prosecution rested its case today. The defense is going to start its case. So now, like, the defense goes, Maxwell's team is going to go and start their case over why she's innocent. Like, they'll call forth their witnesses and whatnot. That is, I'm just going to tell you the dates, and then you can go into it. So they're going to start on the 16th, and they said it's going to be from the 16th into the 20th, and closing arguments possibly on the 21st. But the Maxwell lawyers argued today that they want to wait for closing arguments until after Christmas, because they don't want the jury to feel rushed into a decision, because the Christmas holiday, like, they want to go home for the Christmas holiday. So
that's fair.
I guess it's fair. Yeah.
I was going to say, and it's going to be wrapped up before Christmas. Look at that. You know what I mean?
It
like,
really
how convenient.
is, though. It really is, though. They just don't want the jury, like, they want to win, obviously, or they want to make they want to put out the, like, visual that the appearance that they want to win, you know. So good. Sorry.
I have a sneaking suspicion. I'm gonna, you know, just like a doomed review where we give our theories about what's going to happen here. I have a funny feeling the news is going to pick up a lot now on this case to say they covered it, and it's going to be this defense is going to be a star-studded. This, you know, fluff piece. Remember, like, when Biden first got into office, they couldn't write a bad article about him. This defense is, every point they make is going to sound so scientifically proven. Fauci is going to be signing off on them. You know what I mean? I'd be really interested to see that if the defense gets this, like, star-studded coverage where they could do no wrong almost, or like it just everything they say is so agreeable.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all. Yeah,
because it's hard to
coverage goes into overdrive now by the corporate press on the you know, on it.
Yeah, and it's hard for, like, a case like this to be so unbiased, because, like, at the end of the day, we know Jeffrey Epstein did terrible things. We have these witnesses. There's tons of pictures. There's tons of evidence. And we know Bill Clinton's name was on that flight log X number of times.
Yes, that did come up in the case.
It's hard to be unbiased when we know this stuff, and, like, next week the defense might just be the greatest defense of all time, where, like, we could actually give, like, a free, like, a fair we give them a fair
Mm-hmm.
trial. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I'll still hear it out. You know, like I said, I got the
We have
industry
no
press,
choice.
right? I'm going to
We
see
have
what
no
they have to
choice.
say. And
Yeah.
but I don't, like I said, very disappointing. We've got,
Yeah.
you know, if you were going to get anything juicy, it's past. You ain't getting it. So
Yeah, I mean, some of the photos and the evidence that they were talking about. Do you see the one where they're trying to? I don't know if it's 100% true, but where Epstein and Maxwell, there's a photo of them sitting in front of the cabin.
Oh,
and
no,
it's supposed to be
that
the
is
Queen's cabin.
Yes, that is
Yeah?
the Queen Elizabeth, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm American here. I don't give a shit about those people, but yeah, they were sitting in front of Queen Elizabeth's cabin, and
But there were people saying that. So the cabin looked the same, but the background, like when Queen Elizabeth was taking that photo, is kind of like more of a field where Epstein and Maxwell, there's more trees. It's kind of more wooded. They could plant stuff over time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the woods could grow.
and
Yeah,
they're also
all right.
saying that the same people who built, you know, it's very possible that, you know, cabin company England United is building the similar cabins all over, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know.
I didn't look into the photo. I did see the
Right.
photo, but I didn't look into it
Pretty-
to like try and verify it myself.
Yeah.
I did see a side by side of Maxwell and Epstein and the Queen sitting there, and the you know, the design, the burns on the wood, like the circles were the exact same, but that could be photoshopped. You know, at the same time by someone looking to make a meme and get a lot of attention on social media.
But
I don't know. I mean, you know, at the end of the day,
it's
you
an
know,
interesting
would it surprise
photo.
me that they're rubbing elbows with the Queen?
No, because
I
Prince
mean,
Andrew's involved.
right, exactly. So it's likely.
Yeah.
It's likely. Yeah. Again,
So-
we're not getting anything
I
though.
know.
Any juicy stuff that's going to expose world leaders or the elites and you know, call for trials and that.
Hollywood and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We're getting Kevin Spacey, who he's in a, you know, he already is in his own litigation over raping young boys.
He made another movie already.
Yeah.
Guy's still working. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, he's a Hollywood hero. It doesn't matter how despicable you are. You know, you'll be a Hollywood hero. So that's it.
Disgusting.
We'll see. You know, we'll keep trying to cover it and see it to a conclusion. But I don't think you're getting any sort of, you know, to the Q people out there, you're not getting anything out of this.
Yeah.
You know, everybody being walked off in handcuffs after his trial's over. You ain't getting shit.
We shall see. Pray for justice.
So you want to add anything, or you want me to go on to?
No, let's do Mr. Bloho de Blasio.
All right, so let's start here. Over the course of the past week, de Blasio, he announced more restrictions and more mandates.
Shocking. Isn't it so strange, like how just New York is like the front runner for this? Like New York is just pushing away, like pushing all the mandates on us, and Florida can't figure out how to free its people more.
If you can fuck them here, you can fuck them anywhere. That's what the song's going to be rewritten to say. So de Blasio has decreed by executive fiat, all private sector employees must be vaxxed at the end of this month, very soon, as well as children ages 5 to 11 will also be included in the vaccine passport checks at restaurants, movie theaters, indoor dining venues for proof that they've received a vaccine dose. So now this applies to
Children have
young children too.
How disgusting. How do you even imagine you have the power to do this is beyond me. And look, I will.
I want to let me play the video of him real quick
for
first.
I might take my headset off.
All right.
We've got Omicron as a new factor. We've got the colder weather, which is going to really create additional challenges with the Delta variant. We've got holiday gatherings. We in New York City have decided to use a preemptive strike to really.
I'm going to stop right here for 1 second. He said, we in New York City. No. Yeah. He in New York City. Who the fuck is we?
No one voted on this. No one voted on this.
He is one of the most unpopular mayors ever, even amongst Democrats. I believe his approval rating is at like 30%. That means that most people,
Joe Biden,
even most Democrats hate him. So what? 30% of people, they're the ones who decided. So the 30% get to
decide for 100.
Yeah.
Thank God it's only the city.
Tyranny of the minority.
Do something bold to stop the further growth of COVID and the dangers it's causing to all of us. So as of today, we're going to announce a first-in-the-nation measure. Our health commissioner will announce a vaccine mandate for private sector employers across the board. All private sector employers in New York City will be covered by this vaccine mandate as of December 27th. We're going to have some other measures as well to really focus on maximizing vaccination quickly so we can get ahead of Omicron and all the other challenges we're facing right now with COVID. We've got.
So, I mean, real quick, he's a fascist.
The vaccine doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he's
There's
a fascist.
so much.
There's so much.
So much.
He is a fascist. He's working in tandem with corporations to use the government to help them sell a product that they want to sell.
And he's on the way out, so he doesn't care.
Yes, that's going to be my next point. He's a lame duck. He's in a lame duck session as mayor. I'm pretty sure his term ends on New Year's Eve. And then Eric Adams takes over as the new mayor. So he's usually in a lame duck session. The president, the mayor, the governor, whoever the fuck respects the fact that they are out on their way out and they don't do any, they don't really make any huge waves because the next guy's coming in and you kind of like work on the transition thing.
Yeah.
This guy is decree executive decree over people's jobs in the city and it's not even like it's city employees. It's the
private sector
bodega making chopped cheese on the corner. Now they have to make sure every single person,
the smoke shop. Yeah.
Right. And I'm going to have a couple bones to pick with some businesses in New York City. We'll get into that in a minute. But like we said, he is on his way out and Eric Adams is on his way in. Eric Adams, another asshole, but I did look into a little bit. Eric Adams says they have had a discussion, but he's going to remain, it's private between the two of them.
Yeah, because Eric Adams agreed to it all.
Right, probably. But I did get an interesting quote from one of Eric Adams' incoming staff members. This is from Randy Pierce, the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce president. He is on the team's Economic and Workforce Development Committee for Eric Adams. So, like, the guy who's going to be on the Economic Workforce Development Committee. You know, these bureaucrats make up every fucking, cabinet position they can.
I want to become a bureaucrat.
So this guy says, as many employees, especially small businesses, are still struggling with labor shortages, the mayor's private business mandates mean more pain for the city's economy, said Randy Pierce. So, I mean, the guy who's going to be one of the key people on the economic team doesn't sound very happy with Deblasio's decree here. So, I mean, first of all, point blank, unconstitutional.
Yeah,
we've seen already every other decree Biden, decreed has been struck down.
Yeah, the Senate just voted down the over 100 employees you need to be vaccinated.
But the courts already had ruled that was unconstitutional to begin with. The Senate also just were like, no, because if you're going to I don't agree with this being constitutional at all, regardless. But if you're going to pass laws or force people to do things, that has to go through a legislative process. The king doesn't just make rules in America. We have a system.
This is dangerous territory, man. Very dangerous territory.
For now, some people have fought back. Luckily.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought here.
He's a lame duck. And Eric Adams is remaining quiet on what they discussed about.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. You want a little white pill? It's, as little a white pill as it's going to be. At least one guy in the Adams crew doesn't seem to like it. So maybe it gets struck down and they don't bring it up again. Adams doesn't try to enforce a rule like this.
Yeah, but he's got to get rid of it too. Well, it'll probably get shot down. I really think the goal here. Sorry.
Yeah, good.
I really think the goal here, though, is like they know it's going to get shut down. They know it's by now. They have to know. Maybe the first time around, I wouldn't be surprised if Biden and Deblasio didn't know. But by now, they have to know it's unconstitutional. But they also know every time they make a new scary mandate, a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand more people get vaccinated. So they're inching their way to this percentage that they want one way.
They're inching their way to getting more sales of the product because they're fascists and they're working together with corporations.
And, we're not saying don't get the vaccine, believe what you want, but I forgot where I was going with that now. Oh, well, it's just ridiculous for right now. Oh, no, to hold, I'm not saying don't get the vaccine. If you want to, go for it. but also hold the line. If you really feel
Right.
like you don't want to get it and you feel like you might lose your job, wait it out a little bit before you run out the door. The rules keep changing. They keep moving the goalposts back. And for now, the courts are trying to move the goalpost back to where it was, at least.
Right. This is a point that a guy I listened to, Robbie DeFire Bernstein, has made lately. It's insane how they can pass a decree like this. It could actually affect someone in real life. Like maybe somebody will lose their job.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like a lag time before the court rules it unconstitutional and it gets repealed. But in the meantime, damage was done to the individual and they just get away with it. Like the mayor will just, there'll be no repercussion for something
By the time
for
it
him
gets,
passing.
yeah.
Like he'll have inflicted pain on people and they'll be, that's it. Too bad, you know. Oh, yes, it was unconstitutional, but sorry.
Whoopsie daisy.
Right. Whoopsie daisy. Sorry. In the meantime, you got fucked and you lost your
Yeah.
job. You lost your house. Maybe, you know, your whole life is ruined and you killed yourself because of how miserable you were because of it. You know,
And they probably blame COVID.
Wilhelm Deblasio will walk off here the job in a month and, you know, he'll be, I'm sure he's got something cushy.
A
lined
book
up.
deal.
Right.
I'm sure he's going to have a book deal about, oh, I made all these decrees. I'm the greatest mayor of all time. They're going to melt down another Robert E. Lee statue and make a statue of me out of it. Yeah. He's going to get something big out of it.
So let me share a little bone I have here to pick with some people. Not, you know, this is going to be interesting to you. This is kind of for the Italian American community here. You know, I saw my dad the other day, and my dad has a butcher shop on Arthur Avenue. For those of you who might not know what Arthur Avenue is, it is a Little Italy in the Bronx.
With the tastiest food
Yeah.
in all the land.
Restaurants, butcher shops, stores, big marketplace, etc. And I was at, you know, me and my dad are bullshitting about politics, and I asked him, I go, you know, what's going on over there? Are the restaurants and whatnot, are they like enforcing the vaccine passport and whatnot? He's like, yeah, they are. He's like, they all are. They're asking everybody. They have to do it because they're scared that, you know, the health inspector, whoever's going to come, and he's going to fine them like $8,000 if they're not enforcing it. And I'm just like, wow, really? I used to work there, you know, for a few years, and I heard the stories from the numbers guys, the bookies, all these real wise guy, old Italian people about back in the day. Italians are like historically conservatives for the most part, right? And they're pretty defiant people when it comes to the government, I guess you could say. And I heard the stories on Arthur Avenue of when the meter maids used to come around back in the day and start writing people tickets. The shop owners would come out of the marketplace with broomsticks and tomatoes, and they'd go after the meter maids and chase them out because they were fighting back against the city, like over-regulating them, punishing the business and whatnot. And I just can't believe that these boomers who are in charge of these restaurants and whatnot, these Italian-American conservative boomers, are so easily bending the knee to a dictator. And look, I'm being a little harsh here, but and I'm not going to name any names. Some of these people might even listen to the show, but I've seen them be political before, to the point where I've seen some of them be at presidential debate town halls, and they've asked questions to the nominees. So like, these are political people. You know, I'm not talking about just nobodies here. They're active in politics, and they're just, okay, whatever you say.
Bend the knee.
I don't want to get in trouble because I don't want to lose any money or anything. What the fuck? What is going on here? You should be leading. You should be, if you want to stand, if you want to, like, I don't know what has happened to the boomer, you know, generation.
Dude, it just, when it comes to COVID, nobody could get their shit together. The fear has everybody operating in such a poor manner that the establishment is dancing around. Wasn't there a gym that remained open during COVID and they kept giving him like thousands of dollars of fines and he would rip it up? I don't think he ever ended up paying any of that.
No, where is that energy? Where is
that
energy?
That's what I'm saying. How has that been stomped out after one guy? You know,
Right.
I doubt his gym is fucking checking passports.
Same thing happened in Staten Island around Scott Lebato's neighborhood. The bars and restaurants, they were defiant in the face of Deblasio's, you know, demands back in the beginning of the pandemic. My point here is, what the fuck is going on? Where is the leaders from the Arthur Avenue, from the Italian American community in the Bronx fighting back against this shit? What the fuck are you guys doing?
They're
know,
too scared.
I guess so, but like do something. Shit. You know, this stuff is
they are doing something. They're complying.
They're doing right. They're doing but like if you don't like this, saying nothing and doing nothing is not going to make it go away.
Nope.
You at least need to be vocal about it. I'm not saying
it's crazy to think
I'm not saying
that,
to put your business in jeopardy and get shut down or but fuck, get on a soapbox, go on a podcast, say something, do something about it. Said they've just, you know, the wise guy mentality is now just okay, boss daddy, you know, whatever you say.
There is no
Mr.
more wise
Government.
guys down there.
You know, that meme that I shared, you know, did my government say I could go outside today with the NPC guy with 1,000 needles and the barcode on his head? That's what's happened to the wise guys on Arthur Avenue. Jeez.
And they used to run the city.
Almighty. Right.
I'm actually starting Fear City tonight.
They've been fucking cucked. Their balls fell off. I don't like remember in the Dark Knight.
That's what the C stands in COVID. Cucked.
Remember in the Dark Knight when the Joker met with all the crime family bosses, and he's like, you know, what happened? Did your balls fall off? That's apparently what has happened to the leaders of the community down there. So, you know,
and now if somebody stands up, they'll treat you like the Joker. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, you know, someone's got to be the pariah. Someone's got to be the leader, dude. Yeah. All right. You got anything else you want to add about Mayor?
No, I mean,
Mayor Wilhelm.
Oh, no, I didn't even get a chance to read it because I read it tonight. He's also saying something about how he's going to try and create something so parents can't voice their opinions or whatever at school board meetings or some shit. I don't even remember where I caught it. I read it literally 5 minutes as I was scrolling through Instagram before we started the show.
I mean, you know, that's how authoritarian dictators work. First, they you know, they rule by executive fiat, and then when they get a little bit of pushback, they need to infiltrate the culture, infiltrate the discussion, make sure that people can't criticize them. I don't know. I didn't look into that myself either, but that's how these people work, dude.
Eventually, eventually they'll have to apply force, and that's when authoritarians always lose.
Yeah, that's true.
What's up, Doom Nation? This is Jimbo the Kid from the Last Slice podcast. Join Trillboy, Bodega Cat, and I for some fun-filled dating, political, sex, and gaming episodes on our channel. Just type in the Last Slice podcast in the search bar. You can also catch us on all audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. Come check us out, grab a slice, and enjoy the show.
My main point here is like you have to at least say something. I mean, I guess maybe some people are first of all, they want you to be demoralized. Some people must be so demoralized that they just, whatever, there's nothing I could do. I can't fight the city.
Well, they lost so much money last year. Now, how are they going to afford to pay any of these fines to be defiant? You know, now it's either comply or lose your livelihood.
You can't comply your way out of tyranny, though. You got here because you complied. That's the way I see it. Sorry, it's the way it goes. All right. My third topic here
is the dispensary.
Yes.
Let me refill
your drink. Yeah, you're gonna need a drink after this one. So this is a little bit, while the captain refills his drink here, this is a little bit of a local Connecticut issue for the state. I believe last year marijuana was completely legalized in Connecticut to the point where it could be sold, via dispensary and whatnot. And of course, Connecticut is woke, and the governor, etc., majority of everything is Democrat. So they want to do everything in an equitable fashion, and they want to roll out the dispensary plan, how they're going to sell marijuana in an equitable way that would help people that were disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. Now, I wanted to say, it's worth saying here that I agree that the war on drugs did disproportionately affect, like, let's use African-American men, for example. They were disproportionately affected by the war on drugs. A lot of them were put in jail for like non-violent drug offenses, like smoking marijuana or selling marijuana. That's non-violent, selling something and smoking something. You didn't really do anything to harm anybody. I'm not talking about like drug dealers who shot people or whatever. That's completely different. So yeah, the war on drugs was a complete failure. Drugs won the war on drugs,
and they're still winning.
They're still winning. You could go look at the cartels in Mexico. They essentially have well outfitted militias now that are funded by drugs, and they're funded because it's illegal everywhere in the United States. So that puts a premium on the product. If everything was just legal, you'd take the bullets out of these cartels' chambers, because the supply and the demand for something does not just magically vanish because you've made it illegal. You've only put a premium on it because now it's illegal. I can't get something at a store. I have to go to a drug dealer. So drugs won. Worth noting here, it was Ronald Reagan who started the war on drugs, and it was picked up by every other president pretty much after him until recently. So every president, but it was Reagan. I know Reagan's like a big hero of conservatives, but every president sucks in some way.
Yeah. Well, you got to think though, back then they were actually winning the war on drugs, because probably less people were on drugs back then than there are today.
They started losing the war on drugs the minute they declared war on drugs. Like it wasn't that big of a problem when there wasn't that much emphasis on it. But as we've documented, everything the state gets involved in sucks, or they fucked up, or they create problems that they later bill themselves as the answer to fix. That's exactly what the war on drugs did. And that's exactly what's happening here. I've been rambling for a little bit. If you want to add anything before I get into the...
No, I tried reading this, and then my brain started hurting because it just, equity is not equality.
No, it's not.
So it's still a big scam.
You sent me the meme of what was it, Patrick, and he's like his
with the sparks coming out of my head.
Short circuiting.
I only read about like the first page or so. I do know though, through documentaries and stuff that I've watched and things that I've listened to, ever since they made marijuana legal, even in Colorado and then in California and stuff, and the grow operations that are legalized in California, because Northern California grows is like the most perfect area in like America, the world, to grow fire ass weed. And we've all smoked Northern California like weed that has been
like
grown out there.
The climate's like heat.
Yeah, the climate, just the atmosphere. It's heavily wooded. You could hide your farms easier and stuff in there, but it's really been perfected up there. And like all the black market people that tried going legitimate, you'd go bankrupt. You need hundreds of thousands of dollars just for the permits before you even got to grow anything. And then you have to change your equipment. You're limited to how much you can grow, how you can grow, what you can use to grow. So you're already in the hole, like $500,000. And I'm not even like really estimating, because like off the bat, just for getting the paperwork done, you're in there $250,000. So, $500,000 later, you might only be allowed to grow enough to sell $500,000, but then there's taxes, and your profit of all that is maybe 35%, 40% of what you grew.
You've begun in the hole.
Yes,
I'm sure. Tremendous, hundreds of thousands probably to the state.
Yes, and that's where it all goes. And you got to pay tax on top of it too, because we've gone to the dispensary in Massachusetts. The prices up there are ridiculous, and it's not an expensive town that we go to. Colorado, I've been there. It was reasonable, but it was still expensive. There's a tax on it. When I could tell you right now, doesn't matter who's in office, when these dispensaries open up in the state of New York City, the prices are going to be so ridiculous that drug dealers are never going to make this much money ever again. This is going to be like the golden age of selling weed in New York, because it's just going to be cheaper. Maybe you'll go there for a party or like to get like something that you wouldn't trust your local drug dealer to, but the regular flower, everybody's going to keep going to their black market dealer.
Because it's going to be cheaper.
Dude, it'll probably be 2 to 1.
Yeah. Elon Musk recently said, I think I shared this with you. He said a great quote. He's definitely been reading some libertarian literature lately, and he said something along the lines of, essentially the state is the largest corporation that exists, and they hold
it is a corporation,
and they hold the monopoly on violence. So he's right. And the thing is, the state figured out, we should be the cartel. right?
Yeah.
Why are we letting the cartels take the, all the profit from the drug game? And we'll do it. We'll legalize it, but we're not going to just legalize it and let people do what they want. No, we're going to be the cartel. We're going to tax you. We're going to bury you in fees and regulations and charges and taxes and this and that. And we're going to be the cartel. And the best thing is we're not going to have to do anything. It's not the state's not going to
People are going to come to us.
At least the cartel is growing this stuff and transporting
producing it.
They have expenses in order to create the product. The state, we got all the guns. So you just got to pay us for something and you do the labor for it. It's essentially taxation is slavery.
You're going to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to make way less of a profit. And now this time we won't arrest you.
Yes, exactly. We're going to allow
I have the perfect example, bro.
Gosh.
Okay. I watch nothing but streaming services. I don't watch regular TV too much anymore. My little guilty pleasure is Tiger King. Okay. As stupid as it is,
couldn't get into it.
Do it. Finish it. It gets way better. I personally no longer, I don't think it's real. It's like Trailer Park Boys come to life. Okay.
They're embellishing things to make it entertaining. Oh boy. We're going to go off on a loop here, but go ahead. Yeah. I see where this is going.
Remember how the first time you saw Paranormal Activity, you were like, holy shit, is this real?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's another mockumentary of Trailer Park, because these people are real life Trailer Park Boys, all of them. Right. All of them are batshit crazy. All of them should be in jail. But the thing, I won't, without spoiling it, some people's tigers and lions and cats got repossessed and removed and put into another facility. So the whole thing with the tiger community is that they have this attraction. People will always be attracted to the tigers and the lions. And then celebrities come, and then celebrities want to buy them on the side. And all of a sudden it becomes this multi-million-dollar operation. And you want to throw a party there with celebrities. That's another $2 million. Of course, all these idiots running the farms and stuff are retarded and all crooked people. So they get in trouble. Then the government comes in, repossesses all their lions, and they relocate them to a government facility where taxpayer money goes into a wildlife preserve that the government owns. Everybody who owns these tigers are sleazy people. You don't think the person who's running the government facility with the tigers isn't a sleazy guy? You don't think now the government, these people have been operating on the outskirts of business with these secret tiger parties with celebrities. Now the government's doing it on a ranch that's 4,000 acres wide.
Are they charging people to come in and see the cats there too?
I don't think I don't know if they're charging people, but if a couple of big celebrities who are friends with a couple of big politicians want to throw a birthday party and have a lion walking around, oh gee, where can we go? Well, I know of a wildlife preserve that has all of Joe Exotic's tigers in it right now.
Right, you could rub elbows.
They're not.
Yeah, it's like Bretton Woods or those other what are those things that Alex Jones talks about, those meetups. But now they have tigers there too, it's a whole big party. Big club and you ain't in it.
The government swooped in and ruined these people's businesses. I won't get into what went on in the court hearings and stuff and why people were getting locked up. That you'll have to find out for yourself. But the government came in, gave some people deals, gave jail times to others, and at the end of the day ended up with all the tigers on a tax-funded facility. Mm-hmm. They did the damage and swooped it all up, and now they're making the profit on it.
Yeah, that's the way it works, dude. Like I said, they got the monopoly on violence.
Just like
anything they want to get into, they can get into.
Yeah, the marijuana is going to be $1 billion industry. Tiger parties $1 million industry. They're lining their pockets any way they can.
Yeah. All right, back to Connecticut and the dispensary.
Sorry, Doom Nation.
That was an interesting little segue you had there, but right. So criteria. This is from ctinsider.com. Criteria set for Connecticut recreational pot program social equity applicants. Connecticut has set its criteria, including documentation and workforce development plan requirements for social equity applicants who want to open a business in the state's emerging adult use program. I'm on top of this because shout out to my friend Bianca. We were looking into this. Like, we were like, oh, we like weed. We both know how to sell things. We've been in retail before. Maybe we'll open a dispensary. It'll be fun. Yeah. We'll do a business that we want to do. And that's how I kind of know about this stuff. And I've been following it. So let's see. The council is charged with ensuring the adult use program is equitable and benefits communities that have been disproportionately harmed by the war on drugs, like we said earlier. The law stipulates that half of all licenses awarded through a lottery process will be social equity applicants. So
this is where my brain started sparking.
Yes. Half of all the licenses to open a dispensary have to be for social equity applicants, right? All right. Yeah. Sounds nice. Black people were fucked over by the war on drugs. Sounds like a good idea, right? But the thing is,
I knew where this was going.
Democrats are doing it, right? So social equity status is determined by income and whether applicants were residents of a disproportionately impacted area. Businesses applying must be at least 65% owned and controlled by someone who had a household income of less than 300% of the state median household income over the 3 years before the application and was a resident of a disproportionately impacted area for at least 5 of the 10 years before the application date or at least 9 years when they were a child. Rep. Geraldo Reyes Jr., a Democrat from Waterbury, not far from me, praised the council on its work and read a statement of support from the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. We see this as one of Connecticut's most important opportunities, and this is our one chance to get it right, Reyes said. I'm going to move on here to some more stuff, and I'm going to...
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. That's your question.
How are the people who make these owners that are these 65% owners who have been making disproportionately 300% less than the median income for the past 5 years, how are they going to afford to start the business? Or like, is it just, or are they saying through the social equity program, they're just going to give them the license? Because where's the startup capital coming from?
Right. That's a great question.
These people don't have startup capital, even if you award them the license.
Right. It's going to be different. That's going to be my main point of the whole thing here is, right? But let's go on because we're not done with the rules yet, because I'm going to make my point here. But to prove income, applicants must have a notarized proof of income letter plus one supporting document. Supporting documents typically need to span 3 years and can include pay stubs, tax returns, W-2 forms or a social security proof of income letter, among other documents. For residency, applicants need a Connecticut driver's license or identification card and a social security card. Wait a minute. I thought driver's license were racist in order to vote, right? But you need one here in order to get an equity approval for a dispensary. They'll also need an additional form that can include a signed and notarized lease agreement, school records, or a residential property deed, among other documents. In order to prove that at least 65% of the business is owned and controlled by someone who qualifies as a social equity applicant, candidates will have to submit documentation from a list of about 30 documents, including an organizational chart, personal federal tax returns, and a complete list of owners. They will also need to write a statement of purpose, goals, and details on how they will achieve those goals as a part of their social equity plan. And all adult use businesses will need to submit workforce development plans that answer 6 key questions about how they will recruit, who they'll plan to hire, and how they'll hire from populations targeted by the Social Equity Council. The council plans to host educational events. Well, thank God. They're literally creating school in order to teach you how to fucking apply for this shit. Host educational events about the process and distribute materials that simplify, and explain the list of documentation.
If you need to create a school to simplify this documentation process, the documentation process is too complex.
Yeah.
Number one, I kind of feel, I'll let you make your point in a second. I kind of feel like it is so descriptive. They already know the state's already picked out a handful of people who are going to be like, yeah, you guys are going to do this and we're just going to award it to you anyway. You know what I mean? Like,
let's go back to the guy that is in charge of the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, right? You mean to tell me that he already doesn't have some sort of inside knowledge on who's going to get the licenses and whatnot? Oh my God, that's great. He's in charge of the Black and Puerto Rican caucus. But those are politicians. They're all pretty well off. They're not people from like a shitty situation, or that they were in jail, for like a low level nonviolent drug offense. They're fucking politicians. So of course they're happy about it. But just because they're the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, it sounds wonderful. Yay. Let's have fucking hearts fly up the screen here now because it's amazing. But dude, let's think of this logically, right? They want to help people that were fucked over by the war on drugs. And it's a nice idea, right? You were fucked over.
What are they really doing about it?
You were fucked over by the war on drugs. Ronald Reagan's policies, that evil Republican conservative bastard. He threw you in jail for 50 years and you lost your whole life. Now you've come out of jail and you can open a dispensary and we'll help you get the license to open it. First of all, if you were in jail for all those years, because of this bullshit, because of the state, right? You are probably piss poor. You have no resources. You have probably a low, I don't mean this in any bad way. You probably have a low level of education because you've been in jail for such a long time. You don't know how to fill out these forms. You have no expertise. You're going to need a team of fucking lawyers in order to figure out how the fuck to even start this business, or you're going to need an investor or someone else. And that's why they put that wording in there that you need to prove that some of the people on the organizational chart or equity people. So,
well, just think, if they already have them picked out, you could be one of this guy's political buddies. Like, we could be friends with him and we want to run a dispensary. And he's going to be like, all right, well, you just got to pay, this guy A over here who just got out of jail 10 years ago. He'll be 65% of the owner. He'll put in, you'll do the investment, but he'll put in all the backbreaking labor and all the profit gets taxed. And, then you got to split it with him, and you got to do nothing.
It's all a crock of shit.
Yeah.
The poor African-American guy who got put in jail forever is not going to be able to just fucking start up a business and do all this. And
I've never been put in jail. I can't start up a business.
Me and you, all of our friends, if we put together all our resources, we couldn't afford to figure out the fucking paper. Me and Bianca, no way. We're going to be able to do this. It's impossible. Right? So this is bullshit. This is what all of these policies and equity and all this load of malarkey that the Democrats are selling you. That's all it is. It's a way to line their fucking pockets.
Yeah.
This is not going to help any random person that was fucked over by the war on drugs. I could guarantee you it ain't. No random guy that was in jail for a long period of time is going to be like, he's going to come up now through the Connecticut process. And he's going to be like, now I'm a owner of 15 dispensaries.
It's a one in a million shot. Yeah.
It's a 0 in a million shot. It ain't going to fucking happen.
You want to
know
if it is,
it's going to be fake fucking news propaganda that they're going to push out on you. Good.
And you want to know what? This is going to continue the war on drugs is going to continue to hurt these disproportionate Black communities because no one can afford it. They don't know how to run a business. They wouldn't be able to run it successfully regardless. So the Black market is still going to thrive because they have not that they have no other option. They could go work wherever they want, but the Black market is still going to thrive in Connecticut. And those people are going to get locked up and thrown away in prison because they didn't go through this documentation process.
And even if they do, like, they might be buried in so much debt after the fees, the expenses of starting a business. You're in the hole to the state before you even sold
You're
me
always
the dime
gonna be.
Right. You know what I mean? So, like, what would make the most sense here and help people the most if there were just no rules? You want to start a dispensary? Go ahead. Start a fucking dispensary.
Apply for the business license if you qualify. You know what I mean? Like, they should make it whatever the process for, let's say you said, the butcher shop on Arthur Avenue. Let's say we wanted to make a second location on Greenwich Avenue in Connecticut. Whatever the process is to get a business license to open up a butcher shop on, in some town in Connecticut, that's all it should be for a dispensary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever.
It should,
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Like,
it should be simple licensure or some shit like that. I
Yes.
don't think we don't need to. We don't. Philosophically now, I don't think we need the approval of the state to do anything. I'm dead serious.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But think of it this way: like, if there were just no rules, people are going to open up dispensaries, and they're going to have to hire people. So of course, like, the people with capital are going to be the ones to open up the dispensaries. That's how fucking life works. You can't do something if you don't have any money to do it. But say I was to open up a dispensary because I have a little capital, and it wasn't a mountain of paperwork for me to do. I don't know how to fucking grow weed. I don't know anything about it. Who am I going to hire? Maybe I might hire guys who know a shit ton about weed, growing weed. And you know what? You know who might know a lot about that? The people who were thrown in fucking jail for 50 years for growing weed and selling weed. So I'm probably going to hire them and make them key, partners in my business, because I can't do it without them. And that is how things will get better for people, not by burying them in fucking mountains of government paperwork. Go ahead.
How much you want to bet that? So just because you open up a dispensary doesn't mean you can grow your own weed. Usually then you have to find a source, a supply line. And that would be somebody probably from California, because they grow the best shit, blah, blah, blah. How much you want to bet that since you got your social equity loan to start your dispensary, you now only can choose through these several supply chains that the government already has their hands in. So now they're skimming off the supply. They're skimming off your storefront. They're making money
hand over fist.
Yeah. It's going to ruin it.
We said it a long time ago, back with Emperor Cuomo. He said, we're going to legalize it. He goes, but I want to be the one I want the money to go into a fund that I alone control. And I want to be the one who gets to approve who gets the licenses to sell or not. At least he was transparent about, that he wanted to be
being
the
a
mob
piece
boss,
of shit. Yeah.
About all of it, but the best way to handle this thing would just be, fuck it, do it.
Now,
and it'll sort itself out. The market will sort it out. God, what were you saying?
Now, question, go back up to the top of that. They said half of the licenses will be lottery awarded to.
They're not lottery awarded. They're not lottery awarded. You have to go through this well,
then what were they saying about the lottery? And it's only half the amount of licenses, right?
Yes. Right.
So first off, we don't know. So when Massachusetts started the dispensaries, they had something like 5 licenses to award businesses. So on top of this, there might only be like 6 or 8 licenses to give out. To give to Connecticut. So it might only be 3 people. But what about the other 3? What's the process they got to go through? Or is that some bureaucrat who has the capital, who's already got his name on the dotted line, and he's going to get to open up his dispensary on day 1?
Yeah, that is going to be what it is.
Yeah.
And you see, there's even a problem inherently with like the Massachusetts way of like, there's only 6 allowed. All right, well, you've created a bullshit marketplace now. Now there's only 6 places that could sell. There's no competition. And this is what government does. This is what Connecticut has done. I'm going to go on a rant here, right? With the fucking electricity in Connecticut. I pay one of the
people were ranting about that yesterday.
Fucking rates of electricity in the country. And why is that? Well, that's because Connecticut has designated Eversource as the sole provider of electricity for the entire state. So Eversource has been appointed the monopoly by the state. But because we have such wise and benevolent overlords in government in Connecticut, there's PURA. PURA is the board that regulates Eversource and the electricity, and they're the guys who keep them in check, right? So PURA is supposed to regulate the monopoly and be like, you can't charge this much because that's not fair to all the taxpayers and to the customers. The thing is, I'm still paying the highest fucking rate in the country. So all it is I've had this debate so many times on Facebook and Chris Murphy's mentions with people. They're just regulating how fucked you can be, right? And they're working together with Eversource. It's beautiful. The government has made a way to designate what monopoly is going to be in charge, protect their image by saying we're regulating that monopoly. So it's really, we're looking out for your best interest, but you're still paying the highest rates of anybody, right? And when they go back and forth, Chris Murphy, there was a thing where he was like trying to call them to task about the high rates and whatever. And we'll lower the rates, but my rates are still the highest ever. Yeah. So what does that even mean? It doesn't mean nothing. It's all a load of shit. And if you just took the government out of the equation, and
It fixed
again,
itself.
if you took their monopoly of violence, right? Because whatever they say is going to go, because they have all the guns, right? So if they say Eversource is going to be the monopoly, Eversource is going to be the monopoly, right? Because if you try and open up another energy company, men with guns are going to show up and force you to pay a fine or remove you from the property or throw you in a cage for the rest of your life. That's what the monopoly of violence is. But if you didn't have that, if you just let people do what they wanted, a new power company would rise in Connecticut and they'd charge you less. And what is that going to do? That's going to force Eversource to charge you less or maybe make their product a little bit better. Every time there's a fucking storm here, I lose power for 3-4 weeks. And I'm paying. What am I paying for? For garbage shit.
You're paying for electricity delivery.
Yes. My delivery charge. It's funny when I look at my bill. I think I've complained about this a million times.
Yeah, I've seen it between you and somebody else.
Yeah, my delivery charge is 3 times the price of the electricity itself. Figure that one out, folks.
Handmade electricity delivered to you by horse and buggy. Yep.
Yeah, Eversource, right? I have Eversource goons are coming here, right, with a carriage, and they hand me my electricity.
Yep, handmade, farm fresh electricity, boy.
Yeah. So look. Moral story, last point here is it is the government who created that situation, and they're the ones, again, billing themselves as the answer. Just like they're the ones who created the problem with the war on drugs. Now they're billing themselves as the answer with the social equity program. That's going to cause more problems for people that are trying to open up a dispensary. And then, 10 years down the road, Chris Murphy's son is going to come along and be like, well, I have the plan for the government to help the people who were screwed over by the social equity thing.
Now we're going to help them.
Right. Now we're going to help. Now we're going to help them. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
They've been helping us since Reagan, right? Yeah.
Right. I'm telling you. That's what's going to happen. If we're still doing this podcast 10 years from now, we'll be holding that receipt.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up.
It's unbelievable, man.
Yep. So
but
that's
the way she goes. Yeah. We had a couple of good rants, a couple of good tangents, man. All right. Go hang out with your daughter, buddy.
Yeah.
Doom Nation, thank you for another episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And congratulations, buddy.
Thank you, sir. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.